Well, hello everyone. Welcome again to a GOYA Mentorship Show interview. And today I have the distinct privilege to interview two incredible ladies who are just playing a huge game on the planet with young people. Wait till you hear what they have to share about how they're creating this platform and system to empower millions and millions of children right now and that are yet to be born. What they're up to is just incredible. And I'm sure you will agree as you hear them speak that one thing we want to put in place to make sure our planet flourishes and lasts a long time is making sure the young people are empowered and looked after and taken care of because we always say it and you hear it in the movies, they are our future. And so the future of our existence, the future of the planet is on the shoulders of the young people. So, welcome Sylvia and Tammy to our Landed for Success interview.
Hey everybody, thank you for having us, Anil. We're really happy to be here.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you for sharing what you shared. You've really pulled me into your world and your vision. And the first question I have for the both of you, and by the way, Sylvia is in California and Tammy's in Ontario, Toronto, and I'm down in the Caribbean, so like on three different parts of the world. So whoever wants to go first, go ahead. Again, this is we're just gonna have some fun and do some sharing because I want to land it for success VIP membership to really get to meet you because you never know what you share. You may connect with the right people or the right person to move things forward. And that's what this is all about. So, first question I have for both of you is tell us about who you are. Like, who is Tammy? Who is Sylvia? What do you like to do? You have any hobbies? What wakes you up in the morning? So go ahead.
So did you want to go first? You're the power parenting mom.
Well, maybe I can tell you a little bit about how Tammy and I actually met, because we actually met around 2020 yeah, 2020. We were both, online teaching kids camp, and then we realized that, wait a second, she's coming to where I live. And then we realized that when we connect, there's a lot of things that we were doing in common. So I was busy raising, I was, because I'm not as busy now, but I was raising three kids from what was it? Probably 15 to 20. And now they're, older, but I noticed my way of teaching them and was the same as how Tammy was teaching the kids in her kindergarten class. So we have been collaborating on many different areas, teaching workshops to not only adults, but to kids. My biggest passion is how it really breaks my heart when I see people doing things, and I always connect back to, wow, how are they raised? What was their childhood like? What can I do so that more children realize that, there's so much that they can bring to the world to make them find meaning in their life. And from there, I've applied a lot of what Tammy teaches, like self-talk. And now we are able to create that system to be able to teach it at a more larger scale to schools, to homeschools, and inside the families. And so maybe that would be a great intro over to you, Tammy.
Yes, awesome. I'm going to edify Sylvia right now because we were part of a program called Young Entrepreneurs. And there was 150 kids, and her son, Ben, won the number one spot. And her daughter, I think, came in third, right, in their ideas for entrepreneurship. So right off the bat, I was like, who is this woman? She's doing incredible jobs with her children, and all three of them are exemplary. So to me, proof is in the product. Sylvia is a power parent. She started being in tune with her children right from infants and babies. The way she did things really impressed me. And I wanted to be with people who had the high integrity and that you could actually see the results of what they were doing. They weren't just all talk. So I had an opportunity to go to California to do a documentary called The Awakening. That was a play off of the movie The Secret. And what that was around is how did I use all of the stuff that happened in The Secret so many years ago, and how did I use it and implement it in the classroom, and how did it, impact me and the lives of children? And I did that little documentary, and that's how Sylvia and I reconnected, and we were like, hey, you know what? This is crazy because I was doing this. We did this international thing around the world, and I ended up being only 20 minutes from her in my documentary shoot in the middle of COVID when nobody was traveling and everybody was afraid. We were like, ta-da, like this is like a sign coming and bringing us together. So right off the bat, that was super cool. And so I was coming from Ontario, Canada, and she was in Ontario, California, and we had just connected. And then I was going to be only 20 minutes away from her in the whole world. So it created the doorway for us to come together as a partnership. From there, her son, Ben, had an incredible experience where he flew to New York City. He got to meet Gary Vee. Sylvia got to connect and meet with Gary Vee too. And he was blown away by the two of them because they're so amazing. And we started to develop a partnership with Adam and Matthew Torin. And Ben ended up being the COO of Kidpreneurs. And then Sylvia has naturally and organically taken over that role. And that's what formed our Raising Empowered Kids partnership. So we went from Adam and Matthew Torin and Ben and Sylvia working in Kidpreneurs, and then developing a sister company that supports the personal growth and development of kids called Raising Empowered Kids. So that's how we kind of all came together to form Home, School, and Career Scaffolding as a collective, each of us staying in our strengths, each of us getting to stay in our lane of area of expertise and genius. And we all have over 25 years of expertise in parenting for Sylvia, me teaching and education, and Adam and Matthew building a business because they started as young as, I think, 7 and 9 years old, right, Sylvia? So that's kind of the story of our company and how we became a terrific trio, to be honest.
That's wonderful. That sounds like a perfect storm, I would call that. And so you mentioned raising empowered kids. So share about that, and I know it's broad and there's a lot to cover, but kind of capsulize it for our listeners and how that really works, and share what the platform looks like. Because I know you have a basket of goodies with your visuals that you use, and I really want you to show that so people understand it. So go ahead.
Sylvia, if you want to start with our blogs, because Raising Empowered Kids is about supporting home, school, and career and that development. And Sylvia does an incredible job with our blogs, from Roots to Wings, about empowering parents and teachers with the tools and tips and strategies to ultimately give kids the agency of their own life and help them stay in alignment with their purpose and passion, their ikigai, right?
Well, it really started out with just an email newsletter and a blog, and it's really become a topic of tying in our hero intelligence way of or framework, from one month talking about contribution mindsets to another one totally talking about passion. So we use that vehicle to drive conversations. Parents usually see a lot of emails that are very, kind of, you hear the same things and you're kind of like, yeah, I know that, but it's hard to do. So personally, I'm a certified Tiny Habits coach actually as well, with Stanford Behavior Lab founder BJ Fogg. And what I've done is try to use all of our hero intelligence framework, take what parents are needing help with the most, like they ask questions and we put the answers out there, but also give them a practical solution of how to actually change it in your home week to week. So it's not just tell me all this stuff, but actually doing it is actually the hard part. So we make that a very fun challenge every week for parents. And then from there, we are also, we're very happy that we actually launched our Harmony Hair book last year. This was a project in the works for quite some time, because Tammy had to test these concepts inside her kindergarten masterclass, which she has teaching 4 and 5-year-olds. Can you imagine if we actually had this education when we were 4 and 5-year-olds? We're learning it at 40 and 50-year-olds, right? So imagine our future generation being able to use these stories and also being able to use some of the programs that we're preparing to teach. In fact, we've actually had a pilot already done teaching hero intelligence to teachers, and they are always in tears telling us stories of how students who were a little bit harder or challenging to get into their minds, how they ended up the year with so much stability and ability to be able to be peaceful. So I thought that was really, really a huge encouragement for us to really scale up the program, because we need educators. We need from all over the world, and we're looking for educators, all the time for raising empowered kids.
Awesome. And we were starting to see, like, what is the biggest, problem in education right now? And it really is chaos, right? There's chaos in the home and there's chaos in the classroom, and people are overwhelmed. And so one of the things that drew me to Sylvia is her disposition is very calm. Her children, the way she handles things is very grounded. And so one thing we started to do is peace begins with me. So you either bring your chaos into the home or you bring your calm into the classroom and home. So how do we help explain quantum physics, that, energy is contagious, our vibe attracts our tribe, all these concepts that we learned in personal growth and development. My degree's in psychology, but most people don't have a degree in psychology. I've also got a coaching background like Sylvia. We've got all these skills. So most parents don't have this toolkit of success. So, you can drive a car, and you have to go through all of this, training and learning, but anybody can have a child, and we're not supporting that. So how do we really create these forward thought thinkers in 20 years? And I looked at Sylvia and what she was doing as a power parent and with her children, and seeing what they were able to do. And also Adam's children are really an embodiment of what, if you start early and you give the kids the support and resources, what is possible. And I think I always compare this to the Olympics. When you put kids in skis and skates at 4 and 5, where are they at 8, 9, and 10 and 12? But if you wait and put, a 40-year-old in skis and skates, what happens is that already that fear, those paradigms are already in place, and it's very hard to undo. So the earlier you can start with these really complicated language and strategies, the better kids are going to be. So one of the things, my superpowers is taking the most complicated subjects and breaking it down to the easiest way to explain to 4 and 5-year-olds. And that's where I have lived, is in the 4 and 5-year-old kindergarten programs for the last 15 years. So I get to take all these complicated stuff and translate it and develop it in the classroom. So as Sylvia mentioned, we launched a book, and I've been waiting for this because there's a lot of books out there on feelings, but where do the feelings start and generate? It's from a conversation, our self-talk. If we're having a conversation in our mind, that's igniting a feeling inside of us, which then creates an action or non-action. So, right, like Bob Proctor, the secret talks about the thoughts, but there's not a lot of books out there that are easy to translate this to 4 and 5-year-olds. And our thought, in a consistent pattern with that thought, feeling, action, creates an identity. So you'll often see kids labeled as a bully or a crybaby or this or that. So how do we get away from that? As I say, that's all like separating and dividing us. But Harmony here, I made it into an animal character, so we don't put a culture, a name, an age, a denomination, anything like that. So she's got 3 little voices inside her head. She's got her little victim voice that says, I can't do it. And she stays stuck and hopeless. She's got another one that says, why should I? And is reactive and makes things worse for herself. And she also has a third option, a hero voice that says, I can do it, or I can't do it yet. And a lot of times in storytelling, we usually separate people from the protagonist or the antagonist. And we make somebody all good or all bad, which separates and divides us. And if you put people on a pedestal, eventually they're going to make a mistake because we're human. So what this does is normalizes that, hey, you know what? I have made maybe a bad choice, but I'm going to choose a different voice or a different action. And now I have agency of becoming and choosing a different identity. So as you go through the story, she's a little toy maker. And she loves to make toys. So she has a purpose and a passion too, and a little business. And she's hard on herself. So sometimes she's saying, my toys aren't very good. And sometimes she's like, oh, they're lovely. Like, you did your best. So she's always kind of battling these 3 little voices. And she falls down a rabbit hole. And when she falls down that rabbit hole, she meets guides, a guide goose and mentor mouse. And so we all need support and help to kind of get unstuck. So this is where the language comes in, to finding and seeking either a teacher, a mentor, or a guide. Then she has her past, her present, and her future doors, where she can start to be reflective in her practices. And again, easy for teachers and parents and coaches to use this. So she realizes she was really hard on herself when she was the bunny. She's a little bit of a bully when she's in the present, and she's trying to bully the turtle in the turtle and the hare race. And then she sees herself being kind and helping the troubled troll. And she's like, I really like how this feels, and I want to do more of that. So this is where we can get kids to visualize, what does it feel like, sound like, act like, and who do I want to become, allows them agency to make different choices and also change their stars, right? So she comes back and has a conversation with her little guides, and she starts to make the plan in place on how to become the hero she chooses to be. So goal setting and all those great things. And now in her little treehouse where she struggled to find peace, love, and harmony, she has the inner peace and the outer peace happening. And then all the little characters are there with the description. And so in accompany that, I've created a resource kit right here to do a teach and talk with. So it's really easy.
No, I said very cool. Keep going. Yes.
Oh, keep going. Okay, so we have Harmony, and she's a little hero hare. So she's got her little hero cape for the kids. And you see her at first somber because she's battling with these voices. So even though she's in the most peaceful place on the planet, she can't find peace in her inner world, which is also connected to mental health and dealing and addressing that in a fun and easy way. So we created her 3 little voices, which is her victim voice, which has no face on it for kids to be able to visualize how sad she is, her villain voice, and her hero voice. And what does it sound like? And we have the 3 doors here, which is really fun for kids to walk through. What does it look like, sound like, feel like, act like? And then we have the villain's world. Again, when you go through that door, what would that life be when you make those choices? And the hero's world, it always feels way better, light like a feather when we walk through the hero's world. And one of the things I like to do is a little experiment like this, saying it's easy for us to fall into our victim and villain voices. That's easy. What's hard is to find the blessing, to find, how is this happening for me, not to me? That's a muscle that needs to be developed. So we show kids it's there, but it's hidden. And we have to bring it up. And we have to, like we go to the gym, we have to build that muscle in our thoughts. And another fun thing that I love to do is our time capsule. And in our time capsule, I have bubbles. So they are our thought bubbles. So we have victim. What does the victim say? And we can get kids and adults to, demonstrate that, have fun, actualize it. What's the villain say? And you can see the 3 primary colors are connected to the 3 primary voices of self-talk and the hero voice. So all these little tools that take very complicated, complex subjects to explain makes it easy for adults to learn as well as children, and creates a bridge to these really invisible workings of the world, our thoughts, our feelings, and how we can now navigate kids with the tools and strategies and resources, starting with stories, because stories stick.
Wow, I really like how you capsulize that, because I know there's so much you can say and explain, but I appreciate the both of you, how you've really kept it really, really simple. And I mean, I'm getting a lot out of it for myself, because it's easier to point to children and label them and judge them and look down on them, because I may be older and have more experience, but what I'm getting to is this is not just a journey for children, it's also a journey for adults, and sort of having them meet in the middle, like a partnership where they can actually help each other. It's not the adult up here and the kid down here and the problems here. No, it's like, let's meet and figure this out. And as I mentioned, a partnership. So I'm starting to get what the both of you have put together. And it's incredible. So Thanks for sharing what you've shared so far, Sylvia and Tammy. And so the last question I have is, so based on all of this, what's missing? Where are you at? And what would you like to see in place? Share that with the Landed for Success community right now, because I know you shared with me you want to connect with key people. So go ahead and share that with us, because this is so wonderful and so well thought out and put together. And I can tell you've laid a great foundation. How do we bring this now to fruition on a grand scale to start helping these young people?
So
Well,
you
I guess,
can go ahead.
Tammy, I will actually start in one area, and I'm sure you'll know where the next part will go. There's some exciting stuff happening. There's a lot of people that Tammy actually has just a circle of influence of people is bringing something to life. I'll let Tammy describe to you what's happening there. I work a little bit also with kidpreneurs, and so I'm going to actually share a little bit more and talk specifically about what's missing. Is that a lot of parents want their kids to do well for their future, and our belief is that the earlier you nurture the soft skills and the life skills, the easier it will be for the entire family as a unit. Ultimately, their goal is for their kids. So we want to help them through using entrepreneurship as an exciting incentive for kids to want to learn personal growth, because we have it built in within the journey. We've developed a camp with kidpreneurs and Raising Empowered Kids together, which is called Camp Supernova. We want to help kids create those sparks, right, in the sky. And so we delivered a camp for 5 days online, and it's kids come on to a very cool convention center style, non-Zoom feel. And what we're looking for is to help those kids who may not be less fortunate to not be able to join these camps. So we're looking for sponsorships, for scholarships. We love to help a company or a nonprofit where they have an audience of families who would immediately benefit from this to be able to work with them together. So that's one of the things that I feel would be really making a difference.
Mm-hmm. And for me, I really envision, what's missing in school and education is we assess kids on learning skills, but we don't teach them learning skills. We just give them, doing excellent, but we don't give them those actual skills, and we don't connect learning to life. And I think that's where the whole thing is children aren't motivated intrinsically to want to do this stuff, because as soon as they're given a letter grade, they now feel defeated and I suck at this and I suck at that. By the time I taught them in grade 5 and 6, that's all I heard. They were already defeated. Those labels really stuck. And the problem is if we don't teach them those learning and life skills, and we don't build that in to the academics, they can't get behind their own learning and being self-driven and motivated. So that's why we're trying to create this program, and why we want Kindergarten Masterclass. Imagine Kindergarten Masterclass around the world, where we're giving kids and parents and teachers the language, the foundational structure to really be thought leaders in 20 years from now. But that foundation has to be laid no different than building a bridge or building a house. If you don't have a strong foundation, then you're dealing with trying to put out all the fires and the problems that happen with a weak foundation. So the school system hasn't been really built, like you said, Anil, in a strong foundation that is really about helping children find their ikigai, find their purpose and passion, figure out what they're really good at. And what we want to do is reimagine a new education system, starting in kindergarten, giving them the right tools and skills and strategies and collaborative work to work how to be a team. And that's why I say in this class, we're all little heroes. And we're all master students and we're all master teachers. So you got that instantly, that, the hero in me sees the hero in them, and that they are all heroes. Communication, collaboration, contribution. There's over 8 billion people on the planet. If we all just picked up one piece of garbage, that's how we are going to transform the world. But we have to learn how to work in collaboration, and adults don't even know how to work in collaboration. So how do we expect children to, because we don't teach them collaboration in grade school? We teach them competition through grades and sports, and we pit them up against one another in what their strengths and weaknesses are. So by doing that, we don't even give them the advantage.
Okay, that's powerful. Yeah, there's so much to be said, but for the sake of time, we're gonna keep the interview short. And I really want to participate in this. I have to figure out my role, but let's talk some more. I would love to come in and be an integral part of helping you create and attract what you want, working with people like Mr. Gordon So and Jay Jayakantan and other people through Landed for Success and NIF.ca. Um, I, I really believe you have something incredible here. And obviously, God's source and the universe brought this to you. So it's a gift you've been entrusted with. It's like
Yeah.
it's like you're given I don't know, a magic potion or a magic spell, and you have to use it wisely. Like it's like watching
So, Anil, I didn't tell you, but how this happened, my own hero's journey of awakening, I had a dove hit my window on 11/11/11 at the moment of silence. And that's how I became the hero intelligence teacher, because
There
it
you
was
go. How can you ignore that, right? Like you
my
can't.
call to action. So I'm very spiritually awake around this stuff too, because of my own personal experience 25 years ago.
Well, I can tell that from both you and Sylvia. Like I can feel your energy through the screen, and I'm very sensitive to energy, and I also read auras, and so I can tell you both are really, really amazing human beings. So,
Yes.
but for the sake of time, I want to end the interview, and let's have more conversations. Maybe do another interview in time where we can talk about specifics. But I really appreciate the both of you taking the time to capsulize and help us understand the path you're on, what you've been entrusted to or with, and how you're working to bring that to fruition and bring it to reality for the future of our planet, for the future of the next generations, and how they would look and how that's going to turn out. So thank you, ladies, for being a force of excellence, and I look forward to us having future conversations.
Thank you, Anil.
You're welcome. So let me end this.